What up, HoopSpaces? Welcome to another episode of Wizards Weekly with your host, Point Wizards. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit like on the video and subscribe to the HoopSpaces channel for amazing NBA coverage from across the league. If you're looking for more Wizards-specific content, go ahead over to my channel at Point Wizards. And I'll give you, recaps after every game I watch, as well as additional content throughout the season. Always open to suggestions too if you want to send them. That being said, let's go ahead and talk about this Wizards this past week and how we're feeling. So yeah, overall horrible week for the Wizards in basketball. Success, as I talked about previously. They need to be splitting their weeks at worst moving forward, and they weren't able to do that this week. They went 1-3. Really, they should have been 0-4 the way they played the Pistons. But they suffered a loss to the Bucks. They suffered two losses to the Hawks, and they squeaked one out against the half of Pistons. So overall, very disappointing week. The first game of the week against the Bucks, that was tough. We were dealing with some injuries and stuff, but they fought some. It wasn't until they played the Pistons on Tuesday that you knew they were in for disappointment. Because at least on the Bucks game, they were in the second night of a back-to-back, like the Bucks were. But the rosters don't really compare from top to bottom. When you got the Pistons, though, they were out several starters and key role players. Squeaked out a 2-point victory because they did not come in with the intent to win. They did not come with the intent to quickly shut this down. And take care of business so your guys can rest. Instead, it was very lackadaisical all the way through. Then he followed up with a big game, a huge Big 3 game against the Hawks. After that, I think it was Wednesday. And Big 3 put up 92 points. They just had no help. 28 points from the supporting cast. Denny was a no-show. Corey Kispert contributed some. DeLon Wright's been on it, I think, really after All-Star break, really been on it, especially with the additional opportunities to start playing major minutes and providing a major impact. He's in closing lineups now, and he's been great, but the consistency of the scoring from the supporting cast overall, though, has been pretty putrid. That starts from, again, Denny, Gaff, anybody else on down. You don't expect from DeLon that much, but he's been putting in double-digit efforts. Corey Kispert's been, for the most part, consistently putting in double-digit efforts, but outside of that, they just need help. That was a game where anybody else being a double-digit scorer would have probably helped them win because they only lost by 2. In the last game against the Hawks, it was tough, man. They just could not defend the 3. Could not, really pull it together towards the end. Playing too much ISO. They're playing a lot of ISO ball or point Brad ball lately. It's really kind of sticking up the offense. The more throughout the game to play it, the ball doesn't move as much. And even when they're not doing it, it stops moving just because of habits. It's kind of built in there at this point. So really tough week, record wise and play wise. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward, but this is not the kind of week you want if you're really trying to make a play-in push. Right now they're tied with the Bulls for 10th, 11th. They have the same record, but the Wizards are currently slotted in the 10th seed. So right now there's an advantage, but Chicago, if they can actually score in games, their defense is on point. So that's a threat to them as the Wizards if they really are trying to make the play-in at best at this point. What makes this week pretty tough as well. The Big 3 averaged over 70 points, about 172. And, that was the 70-point mark is one I felt like if they got at least that they were able to put up more dubs than losses. So, the 92-point outburst by the 3, skews the average some. But overall, when you're getting, at best, one other double-digit scorer from the rest of your supporting cast, I don't really know what you're supposed to do with that. But yeah, the Big 3 had a good week. 71, 72 points. Average between the 3 of them, shooting over 50%. Outside of Brad's, 14% from 3. They got consistent contributions from all 3 of those guys this week. Overall, positive plus minus. So happy with the way they put up points, but at times the eye test, the offense, the effort on defense, and the intensity is just lacking. So do want to see more from them moving forward, especially going into the final sets of games. So this upcoming week, we'll just play 4 games. We play Philly, followed by Detroit, Cleveland, and then Sacramento. Just off the top, I could see them easily going 1-3 here. That said, they do need to go 2-2. So I'm going to say that they get wins against Detroit, and hopefully it's a better one than the last time. Just not as ugly. You don't have to work as hard, regardless of who's in the game, because you should be playing like you're the better team. But Detroit and Philly, because they actually got a Philly win against Philly earlier this year with Joel Embiid playing. So looking forward to those two. They need to grab at least those two. There's a chance they could, beat up on Sacramento, especially with their interior, not being the strongest for rim protection and defending that. But I would say the easiest 2 wins might be Detroit, of course, and then hopefully Philly, just based on precedent. So yeah, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hoop Spaces with Wizards Weekly. And again, if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe to Hoop Spaces in the video. If you're looking for more Wizards content, go ahead over to my channel again, Point Wizards, and look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.